It's just a key thing that we think people always naturally go to driving more leads into their business. But actually, if you're driving leads into a business that hasn't been optimized for conversions at various points, then it just means you're spending more and more money at the front end driving leads in, and they're not converting into customers and revenue at the back end. And that's just going to make your growth harder work. It's going to mean you're working harder. Hello, everybody, and welcome to AskDME. It's the September episode. It's episode 7 of the show. My name's Richard Moore. I'm the CEO and founder of Digital Media Edge. And the goal of these shows, if you're new to the shows, was really to put in place a Q&A style show all around modern business growth. So everything that we see working, everything from lead generation, driving traffic, setting up the right systems. We had a show all about growth strategy, planning out your strategy, right the way through to customer acquisition, customer engagement, client engagement, all the areas of the business that we find modern businesses, when they get it right, it just helps them drive this predictable growth. If you want to get involved with the show, it depends where you're watching, but if you're on the LinkedIn event, which I expect the majority of people will be, then you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see there's the live show chat. You can enter comments in there. You can ask questions in there, just leave feedback in there. Please feel free all the way through the show just to engage with the show. That's the whole point of these live shows, rather than a pre-recorded show, is that people actually engage with the shows. Talking of engagement, thank you to everyone who sent questions in on conversions, different types of conversions in your business. I really wanted a show around conversions because we feel it's so key to that predictable growth that we all want in our businesses. So thank you to everybody who sent in questions. We've got a lot of questions come in. I've chosen 4 to answer live in the show. But again, in the live chat, please feel free just to enter a question in there. If there's something you think of while I'm going through some of the slides that I've prepared for the show, then please just engage in the live chat. Hi, Devon. Nice to see you. I've just seen Devon's popped up in the chat and said hello. So let's crack on with the show then. Let's bring in the slide deck. And really, as I say, we're focusing today, everything is all about unlocking conversion-driven growth in your business. It's just a key thing that we think people always naturally go to driving more leads into their business. But actually, if you're driving leads into a business that hasn't been optimized for conversions at various points, then it just means you're spending more and more money at the front end driving leads in, and they're not converting into customers and revenue at the back end. And that's just going to make your growth harder work. It's going to mean you're working harder. And I think most people, when we talk to them and we say to them, what does your business growth look like? Just get rid of those banners, just so we've got a clearer view of the branding banners. Yeah. Oops, that's it. Thank you. Just get rid of those. That's perfect. When we talk to most business owners, we sort of look at what their business growth looks like and how they're working in their business on growing out the business. And it really does seem to follow a very similar pattern. As the business owners set the business up 4 or 5 years earlier, they've basically every day they're busy working on their lead generation, having sales meetings. They're probably doing multiple things within the business. They'll be posting on social media. They'll be posting on social media. They'll be probably adding website content. They may be on LinkedIn, working on social media, maybe producing videos, going to physical shows again. Now we can all meet face to face. And it really does become this whirlwind every day of activity. So the business growth is very unpredictable for them. They don't know where the leads are coming from. They don't know which leads are converting into customers for themselves. So again, it can become a very overwhelming situation to be in as a business owner. And then they'll probably start then recruiting. That's usually the first thing people do. We'll start building our teams out. We maybe take on a salesperson. We'll probably take on someone to work on the website content for us, maybe a social media manager to manage our social media. That should free our time up a bit more. And hopefully at the end of all of that, we produce a customer. Now, what we're trying to do when we're looking at any business and helping any business to grow in a more predictable way is we're trying to change this mentality and move it towards a very structured approach of the different types of lead source at the front end. So this is how we're adding volume into the business. Different types of lead source, the website, how the website converts, what videos we're using, what content we're using in the blog, how we're using social media, how we're using email marketing. And all of that is really driven through a highly converting mini funnel. So throughout the business, we have mini funnels set up. We call them conversion paths, which we'll talk about later. But they're a mini funnel really, which converts all of these traffic and lead sources into a reliable source of leads and then a reliable source of customers. So at the back end, there's this predictable growth of customers and revenue for the business. And that once that's put in place, that really does make business growth far more predictable for the business. And also we can forecast what that's going to look like. So what we're trying to do really, and the answer to making that happen, is to pull on the two levers of growth. We felt that when you strip away everything in most businesses, either B2B or B2C businesses, there's two levers that you need to push and get good at pushing and pulling to really drive that growth. The first, we feel, is the conversion lever. If you can address your average conversion rates throughout your business model and throughout the key points in your business, then you will really start to make that predictable. You'll be measuring the right metrics, and you'll see that when business is fed in at the front end, it's converted in a very predictable way. I call this producing a lead machine. So you want to really have this machine mentality of how do we make this reliable like a machine? Then we can add volume to it. So once you've got this machine and this pipeline optimized for high conversion rates, right the way through from people coming into your website through to them becoming a customer at the other end, once that's been optimized and you know it works at every stage, then spend money on volume and spend money on your lead generation activities. You know, spend money on ads, LinkedIn ads, Google ads, spend more money on social media. These are all the areas. Paid traffic is great for adding volume into your business, but I would say don't have that as your first thing. Don't start just driving more and more traffic, as I say, and trying to generate more and more leads if your sales process hasn't been optimized to convert those leads into customers, or if your website hasn't been optimized to convert the traffic into leads in your CRM. So those are the two levers of growth that we work on predominantly with every client. That's where we'll be focused. That's where we'll be working. And in fact, when you look at our 90-day lead and revenue accelerator, which is our most popular service that we have with any client at the moment, it really has been set up to month one, set up the system, start working on the offers that we have within the system. So these are offers to convert people at different stages through the process, and then also the content creation. So month one is very much about building the systems and framing and positioning those offers in the right way in front of the right people. So we'll talk about that again later on in the show today. You'll see month two is very heavily sales focused. We want to make sure that there's a sales process and a pipeline that's going to be optimized at every stage to make sure that it converts. So it's going to have a good offer at the end of that pipeline. It's going to be very, very structured is the pipeline, so we can measure each lead that goes through it and make sure that they all go through the same process, because then we'll know we can get conversion in the sales process working. And then you'll see finally in month three in our 90-day lead and revenue accelerator, we then up the volume. We start working on the volume side of things, more social media content, driving more organic traffic, also having paid ads starting to kick in. Probably LinkedIn or Google ads will set up for a client. And then we'll have the metrics and analytics to make sure we're measuring the impact of all of this, and we can really have a very predictable growth. And that's really when we can start optimizing things. Once you've got these metrics in place, you can just start improving every stage of your process. So conversion is key to that. I mean, it really is. So let's get into the questions. Question one that was sent in, or the first one we chose, which we thought is something we hear an awful lot. is this overwhelm we all have as business owners. So there's so many things to measure, so many conversion points to think about in our business and our business growth. Where do we get started? You know, what's going to give us the most impact when we're getting started with our business growth? So our starting point with most things will be going back to knowing your numbers. It's something we do in our workshops with people. And it's something that we always work on with clients in the first week, probably even pre-starting a 90-day program with anyone. We'll actually look at what are their financial goals for growth. And then we reverse engineer that. So we're looking back of, you know, asking what's your average order value? How many customers or orders do you need to hit that financial goal for growth? How long's the sales cycle? And the two key conversion points for us are how well they can convert a lead in their CRM into a customer. So what's their conversion rate there, their sales process, their pipeline, how does that work? And is it working reliably for them at a percentage that they're measuring? And also website visitors to leads. So all this traffic they're generating from social media activity, everything going through the website, how are they converting that into leads in their CRM that they can then nurture into a customer? So those are my two starting points. If everybody watching this video just got those two things right and knew that figure, then you'd be halfway there straight away. So I will look at these in more detail through the show today, but that's how I would decide in my business. I would make sure that those two conversion points of website conversion and sales conversion are my headline figures that I know are working to a certain percentage. So that's the way to decide it. And the reason that we're going to that to those two metrics is that whenever we work with clients, we're really looking at conservatively what should we produce over the next year for them. Realistically, what's the realistic scenario and what's the best case scenario? So we're always trying to have three figures that we're aiming at for people. So here we're looking at increasing traffic to the website. So a conservative estimate for us would be, can we increase 20% increase of traffic to the website? If we can we then have a 10% increase in leads? That should generate them 10 new customers on what they're already generating. We know the average order value, so we know those 10 customers are going to generate around £100,000 of additional revenue for the business. And we also, this is a figure that everybody should know, is customer lifetime value. So how many times do customers buy off you? Do they stay with you for 4 years and buy off you 3 times over that 4 years? You know, again, get these figures and these metrics in place because that will allow you to be this accurate with your predictions and your estimates of where you're forecasting you can take the business in the next 12 months, the next 2 years, the next 3 years. Our realistic, we'd say we can increase traffic by 40%. We know with paid ads, we can easily achieve these figures. Actually, the front end traffic isn't the challenge, it's this conversion. That could give us a 25% or should give us a 25% increase in leads, generating 20 new customers, driving £200,000 of business. And that then translates into £1 million of additional customer lifetime value in this scenario that we're looking at here. And best case scenario is we get a 50% increase in traffic. We then know we've optimized the website to convert into leads. So there's a 30% increase in leads over that first 12 months. And that's generating 25 new customers, £250,000 of additional revenue and 1.25 million in additional customer lifetime value. So this is the importance of those two figures. You can see at the heart of this is how many more leads am I generating and how many more customers. So that's website conversion and lead conversion. So conversion point 1 is definitely based on website conversion. How well is your website converting its traffic into customers? And I base this really on the marketing methodology, the inbound marketing methodology around the first part of there is attract and convert. So those first 2 stages are how good are we at converting visitors into leads. So people are strangers, they don't know you. How do we attract them? So blog posts, keywords, social media posts, paid ads, all of the different ways we can attract people into our website. But then how do we convert them? What's the conversion that we have set up to turn them into a lead? So what forms have we got? Calls to action I'll touch on later, landing pages we'll talk about as well. That first part is key for you. Now, once that piece is working and you've got a figure here, a conversion figure, then you want to go to the next stage, which is your sales pipeline conversion. So this is conversion point number 2 I talked about. Get this right as well. And the way we do that is really aligning our sales process around the decision-making process. See down here, I've highlighted really the 3 stages we all go through when we're making a buying decision. That's awareness stage, where we're asking very general questions. We then move into a more consideration stage where we get far more specific with our questions. And then we get to the decision-making stage. So are you thinking of your target buyer and how are they making a buying decision? You know, if you survey your existing customers, you can really be accurate on who your best buyer, what they look like, and how they make a decision to buy your services, buy your product or your solutions. So again, aligning that sales process and having stages of a sales process that are very predictable, again, rather than, we just pick the phone up to every lead in our database and we just, you know, have a very outbound mentality. Think very inbound. Think, how are we helping these people make the right decision for them? And then how do we structure our sales process to make sure we're giving them the right information at the right time to make the right decision? And that's why when you've got a highly converting sales process, it'll be predictable. It'll be, we convert 20%, we convert 25% of our leads into customers. You know, it's literally there in stone, set in stone, because every single lead goes through this set process. So we'll cover this in more detail as well. Someone asked about this in one of the questions as well. So those are the 2 areas that I would really focus on. Rather than getting overwhelmed with lots of different email conversions, your ad conversions, you know, landing page conversions, click-through rates, all of the different conversion things you can measure with technology nowadays and with a good system. They're all important, but the 2 I would zero in on first to get right are your website conversion into leads, visitors to that website into leads, and also the sales process, so you can convert those leads into a customer in a really predictable way. So hopefully that's answered the question for you. Question 2 is very common question again. Certainly when we start working with any client, we'll be looking at their Google Analytics, looking at what traffic's coming through the website, what their existing position is, not what we need to add. Where are they now? And this is very common. I'm getting around 900 visitors to my website every month, but we still struggle to convert them into leads. Where would you start? So again, a common question I think a lot of us have when we're first looking at our business growth. And 900 visitors, that's a healthy level of traffic for a website. You know, I think most websites should be around 1,000 visitors a month. That's certainly where you want to be aiming to get to, and the right type of person as well. So with that, our starting point is trying to get every client to 2% conversion rate. You know, so website conversion, if you can hit 2% as a regular conversion of traffic into leads, then that's your starting point. Most people we talk to are about 0.2%, so 0.5% if they're lucky. So again, all the work goes into the optimization of the website to make sure it converts the traffic. And the 2 key areas I would say, and the reason this is so important is obviously the person who sent the question in has 900 visitors to the website. So at 2%, he's looking at hitting 18 new leads a month. So 18 leads are going into his CRM every month. Now, if they're good quality leads and they're, you know, rather than the volume, that's a good quality lead, very highly targeted lead going in there, then he should have a very good chance of converting those leads. However, he gets that to 4%, you know, he can get his website conversion up to 4% of his traffic, you know, already without any additional traffic, he's got to 36 leads a month. You know, and then obviously 5% is 45 leads. You can see why just small increments at the front end there makes a huge difference. And it's really, it is key that people don't look at just generating more and more traffic, spending more on Google Ads, spending more on different types of traffic source, because it's just false economy. If you get your conversion right at this point, you can survive on the leads you've already got, provided the quality's there. You know, your 900 leads may be a mixture of quality. I would also look at how many are new visitors out of those 900 and how many are existing users who are coming back through your site. Again, if you've got a good blog on there, a lot of people will be reading your blog content regularly. They're probably returning visitors. So again, have a look at how many of those people are new visitors, and then start having a look at how many of them fit your persona for your target buyer, for your primary buyer persona, because that's what we're going to do. But 2%, have that as your rule of thumb to start with. How can I get my traffic to 2% conversion? In Google Analytics or HubSpot or whatever tool you're using to measure your website traffic, have a look every month at the end of the month of how much traffic did we get last month? Where did it come from? But how much of that, how many leads did we then generate on the back of that traffic? Okay, and the two things again that I would focus on here, I want to give you real actionable things to take away from the show. So the two areas I would focus on here are getting your calls to action right throughout your website and getting your conversion offers or a lead magnet in place that's pretty irresistible to your target audience. So if you can get those two things right, again, you should easily be hitting this 2%. So the website traffic, when I look at this, I break it down into organic search. So how many people are finding us through the search engines, coming through, maybe they've seen our website on a brochure, maybe they've seen our website and they come direct from typing the web domain name straight into Google. So that would be organic search, SEO. You've got your paid ads and paid search then, and social media, and probably more and more paid social media as well now. So Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, even Twitter ads in certain cases, Instagram ads, depending if you're B2C or B2B. So again, as I say, converting that website traffic, generating the traffic nowadays, honestly, is not the problem. It's making sure that every penny you spend is converting into a lead in your CRM. So make sure that you're measuring all of this and setting your website up to convert it. And you can see here, this is a report that we run regularly in HubSpot for ourselves. It lists all the sources of our traffic down the left-hand side, and we can see here the first column is how many people, sessions. The next is contact conversion rate. So you can see an average across all lead sources is 4.99%, so just under 5% conversion. Customer conversion rate that's how many leads we've produced. Now, how many of those new contacts turn into customers? And that gives us a customer conversion rate as well. So again, this can be broken down by lead source. So for ROI, for all of us in business who want to make sure that every penny we're spending is earning us something back, you can then break down all your lead sources like this and say, right, my paid search is giving me a good quality lead that actually is highly targeted and turns into a customer, far more than my organic search, which you'd expect to see. Referrals that come into the business should always be highly converting because they're a referral from someone else, someone who has referred your business to them. So again, referrals from partner sites as well, if you may be represented on a trade organization website. Again, these are all things that can generate you traffic through to your website and then be converted into leads. Email marketing, so your campaigns and email marketing campaigns that are running, how are they bringing people back as sessions through the website and then converting into leads and customers. A lot of your email marketing will be done from your email lists already, but you may have external email marketing as well that you're involved in. Direct traffic, social media traffic, and other campaigns, including paid social. So again, you can see the 2 points that we're measuring here are conversions of visitors into leads and leads into customers. Creating a strong call to action. So for that website conversion, calls to action are so underutilized. Nearly all the time when I go through websites now, there's the odd click here button. And apart from that, there's very little other call to action in place. So I would say a key thing here is on your blog posts. So if you're writing interesting solution-based blog posts that people are reading and consuming, I think there should be at least a text link call to action in that first paragraph, promoting a guide or promoting a video series, anything that you've got that you think, well, someone reading this blog post, what's the next step for them? Well, I've got a really good piece of content here I could share with them. And then that can be on a landing page with a form on it that they fill in. And again, that conversion's happened. So I would always say in that first paragraph, towards the end of the first paragraph of your blog post, have a text link. And then towards the end of the blog post, so everybody who's read through that whole blog post, 800, 1,000 words, has shown some real interest and intent, then have another call to action. But you can see here, these are some of our calls to action that I've just screenshotted out of our HubSpot account, and we have banner calls to action as well. So they're a full width banner across the bottom of the landing page, which again is offering one of our guides, offering a video series, offering a checklist. There's all different things that we offer. Or we have straight ask to book a call. Let's talk about your business growth calls. There's all sorts of different things. So a strong call to action for me is one that's very descriptive. If I click on that, I know what I'm going to get. So it's very relevant. So again, mix up your calls to action, text hyperlinks, buttons, banners, all of these things can be really powerful. But if you go on most websites on the homepage, you land there and there's no call to action other than get in touch with us or have a call with us, and I've only just landed on your website. I want to have a look around what you do, find a bit about you, but also engage with some of your content. I want to see some of your videos. I want to engage with your blog posts. So again, this is the reason why conversion rates are so low, because the calls to action are just weak. They're not strong at all. They're weak. So think of your calls to action on your website and how you can improve that and where they appear on the website. On the homepage, there should at least be 3 or 4 calls to action throughout that homepage. There should be a really obvious one at the top. And then as people go down the homepage, but think most of your traffic will be going to a landing page, or they'll be consuming a video or a blog post. So again, strong calls to action in your blog posts, strong calls to action in your videos. All of these will up the conversion rates. The second thing is obviously having a good offer, something that's a remarkable content offer. So I've shared some of ours here, but I think the 3 I would always focus on for a content offer, and when we're working with a client, each industry is slightly different, but I think a well-produced professional guide is still the winner for me. It's still a PDF guide like this, really professionally produced front cover. You can see ours at the top here. Thank you to Optima. Simon and the team at Optima have redone our covers. And again, we're constantly working on the content and the look and the feel of it. So we start with our PDF guides as one offer. We then have a 6-video series here, the Masterclass that we wrote in January, and I produced 6 videos for this Masterclass all around lead and revenue growth. And it's 2 hours, 6 videos, totally free for people. But again, it's just a really great offer, and it's where most people come into our ecosystem. They'll go through the videos, they'll use the workbook that comes with the Masterclass, and then they'll engage with us because they'll have gone through all that content. So PDF guides, video series are great. And the latest one that we've seen working really well is getting a scorecard, some sort of diagnostic tool that you'll be able to ask 30, 40 questions of your prospective customer. They can go through and get a score, and sort of, it's like an audit really of where they are now. And you can also leave recommendations of these are the next steps we recommend you focus on. So again, it's something we're looking at, producing a growth score for people, which has different topics around their strategy, around the lead generation, around their sales process and customer acquisition, around what systems they're using. And once they've filled those questions in at the end, we'll say, these are our recommendations for your next steps. And again, having that scorecard and giving people this is your 48% at the moment for growth, having that figure is a really engaging piece of content, and they can do it in 10, 15 minutes as well. I think the downside with our video series is that people have to commit 2 hours to it. Whereas with this and with the guides that they download, they can read at their own time. And with this, it'll be done in 15, 20 minutes. And all the questions that we ask in there are going to be useful, valuable things. So it's like this, a Q&A. We can give answers and give a score at the end of that scorecard. So again, those are the 3 that I would recommend for a content offer or a lead capture offer, a lead magnet offer, because they are easy to deliver and they're very engaging. So people will be sharing content very naturally with you. They'll be sharing information with you, which can obviously then all go in your CRM as well. But it's just becomes a really engaging piece that adds value to them at the end of it. They'll go away thinking, well, that was really valuable. It was worth my time, was that? So again, focus on your calls to action and get that content offer in place and make sure it's remarkable. Make sure you work really hard on your content offer so it isn't just some generic guide that you could have got anywhere. Some real thought has gone into it, and when I read it and I engage with it, I want to find out more about you. It really helps answer some of my key questions. So that's my 2 areas of focus to get that website conversion working for you. There's many other areas to work on as well, but I think if you can get a strong calls to action throughout your website and remarkable content offers, so things that you can offer people to in exchange for their name and email address to start that engagement and start that nurturing process, then I think you'll be onto a winner. And again, you'll get on well over that 2%. So hopefully that's helped answer that question. Good question from whoever asked question 2. Here's an example of our landing page here for the Lead and Revenue Growth Masterclass. 6 free videos plus a workbook, and then there's myself. Again, we use a video landing page a lot because they convert better than an image-based one, but image-based ones are the best ones to start with because they're easy to produce. And then from here, as I say, people can go through this 6 videos, they can complete the workbook, and then that should naturally lead to a conversation at the end of that with us about the next steps. So again, that's one of those. Something else I'll share with you as well. When we were talking about the diagnostic tool, people think, oh, that's a massive thing to set up. I'm going to have to get someone to code that for me. There's plenty of apps out there that will do all the work for you. So a lot of the heavy lifting, the one I recommend is scoreapp.com. If you go onto ScoreApp, you'll see how it works, but you can set your questions up in there, set topics up in there. Every industry and every business, they've got examples of how to structure this scorecard and this approach to producing a diagnostic tool. So definitely use tools like that. Make it easy for yourself. All you'd have is a subdomain of your company.scoreapp.com, and that page is where you send everybody to get their scores. Get their score and to use this diagnostic tool. So you can easily have that on your homepage or on a landing page where it pops up saying get your growth score or get your score for this, and people love them. They're really engaging as a piece of content. So again, use apps like that. That would be my advice. They're out there. Use them, and I think this has got a 14-day free 14-day trial at the moment as well. So I've no affiliation with ScoreApp. I just thought it was a really good tool for doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It can all be branded as, say, it's white label, so it's all branded in your logo, and just becomes a really good lead generation tool. So again, it's that lead magnet that's people can't resist knowing how they fare against everybody else. So again, it's just that engagement that you'll get by using that. So let's move on to question 3. A conversion path. This will be a fairly quick question to answer, but it is something that we get asked a lot about. And I think throughout your website, what you're trying to produce here is multiple conversion paths that go through the website. So wherever anyone lands on your website, that traffic is steered a certain direction. So to me, it's really 3 parts is a simple conversion path. It'll be a call to action, leading to a landing page, leading on to a thank you page. So the key there is how many people have clicked on your call to action, how many people then went to the landing page and took action, because if they gave your name and email address there, then they'll go to your thank you page. So you'll know the only people who went to the thank you page are your actual conversions from the landing page. So that'll allow you to have a very accurate conversion rate of those 2 key points. So 100 people saw my call to action button and 40 of them have clicked on it. So I've got a 40% conversion rate on that button, on that call to action button, link or pop-up or banner, whatever call to action you've gone with. That means that 40 went to the landing page. From the landing page, we then had 20 who went to the thank you page. So there's a 50% conversion on that thank you page, on that landing page to the thank you page. Remember, the other thing is you can pixel the landing page now to be a custom audience. So the whole art of remarketing is knowing that someone clicked on that button for whatever reason, but life got in the way. They didn't take action on your landing page. Now, it may be the landing page just didn't seem relevant to them, or it may be that the phone went, or they saw something else pop up on the screen and they disappeared off. So they had an intent at some stage because they clicked that button, they clicked that link to go through, but for whatever reason, they didn't complete your form on your landing page and go through to the next URL, which was your thank you page. So really powerful, and something Facebook do really well. LinkedIn have started doing this really well. You can do it on Google with remarketing pixels. You can do it on YouTube as well with video watches. So make sure you build these custom audiences out in the background so you can then produce a campaign to those people who showed interest but didn't complete it first time round, because I can guarantee you'll get another 20% on top of the people who did take action. So that 20% again is really valuable to you because they know your brand, they've shown intent, you know, there's obviously something in their mind that they want help with. So again, having this conversion path allows you to do this, and you'd have multiple ones through your website. Every single guide we have, the 6-video masterclass, you know, the scorecard, they'll all have their own conversion points, but also every paid ad that we run will be going to a landing page, and that'll have its own conversion path as well. So we'll know everybody that we've paid and has clicked on the ad has gone to this landing page. Now, again, I'll be able to tag people who didn't complete the form and go to the thank you page. So for ROI on your paid ads, if you're struggling with paid ads and getting a positive ROI on them, Google ads or LinkedIn or video ads on YouTube, then that's why it's probably you're sending the traffic to your homepage. You haven't got a very relevant landing page that traffic's going to, and also you probably haven't set up a custom audience to make sure that you're rinsing as much value as you can out of that spend on your ads. So as I say, that is a really key thing. Thinking in conversion paths, thinking what are the 3 elements I need in this conversion path? Where are my metrics and what's the reporting coming back from that conversion path? Then what are the other conversion paths I need to build through my websites for different audiences, for different traffic sources? You know, there's lots of different conversion paths you need, but effectively that's what a conversion path is. It's a very predictable path of sending traffic through that you've got metrics set up for to measure the conversion rate at each stage of that path. So hopefully that's answered it. I'm just keeping an eye on the time. We're on 36 minutes. So question 4 is, we're generating a lot of interest in our services and leads in our database. We're generating a lot of interest in our services and leads in our database, but only converting 10% of the leads into customers. What do we need to do? Well, again, we talked about this right at the start of the show. We were talking about how important that sales process is and how important that conversion is for your sales process. So what I would do is I'd say there's 3 areas to really focus on with this. First of all, look at the quality of lead you're producing. So you're saying you're producing plenty of leads into your CRM, but what quality are those leads? Because if they're a low quality lead and it's a mixture of everybody going in there, and you've got very broad reach of your advertising, very broad reach of your marketing, you haven't targeted your marketing and been laser focused with that, then you will get a mishmash of everybody coming in as a lead. You maybe get competition downloading your guides or converting into a lead in your database. You maybe get university students who are doing a bit of research on your industry downloading your guide. You know, you really have got to try and get rid of as many of these poor quality, low level leads as you can, and just make sure that you're working on the high quality leads. I've put up here 25%. I would expect that most people can achieve that. 1 in 4 leads turns into a customer. So 25%. I think most people we would talk to are around 20%, 1 in 5, and we can get them to 25% fairly quickly just by doing a few of these things. And then we've seen people at 30 and 40%. So again, back to the question 2, which was all about 900 visitors, you know, 18 leads coming in. If he converted at 20%, 1 in 5, he's looking around 4 customers from those 18 leads. That's his 900 visitors. Remember, at 2%, we got to 18 leads. If we got him to 36 leads, then obviously he's looking at 20% there is a far higher number. But actually, I would say if we can get you to 25% conversion on your sales, that same 18 leads then turns into 5 customers a month. If I can get you up to 40%, that's 7 customers a month. So again, just by optimizing my sales conversion, again, as we talked about optimizing your traffic conversion into your website, into leads, your sales conversion can have a massive impact on your growth and your revenue without really touching anything else. You're not really increasing anything other than focusing on every step of your sales process and saying, how do we improve the conversion rate at each step of that? So the quality of lead in there, are they good fits for what you do? Everyone in as a lead that comes in should be a good fit for what you do. Next, have you got a predictable pipeline, a sales process in place that every lead goes through? And finally, what's your primary offer? What's your Tripwire offer? Or do you go straight in with your core offer without any? Have you got an in-between offer that can get people working with you? And I'll talk about these 3 areas in detail because they are key to getting this sales conversion up. So your primary buyer persona, we've talked about this a lot in the marketing. We talked about it a lot in the strategy show as well. To me, good modern marketers know their buyer personas inside out. They know who your ideal buyer persona is. And if you're in B2C, they know what sector they are, what industry they're in, what position they hold within a company. They'll probably know 4 or 5 buyer personas around them, but there'll always be a key decision maker they know, and they'll know them inside out. That's really the art of good marketing now, is I'll know the pain points, I'll know the challenges, I'll know the gaps that this person has, I'll know his goals or her goals in their job. I'll help them. If our service can help them achieve their job and be more successful in their job, again, we've got to know what their goals are. What does their everyday look like? What are their sources of information? You can see at the bottom right here. So where do they go for information? Do they belong to groups on LinkedIn? Do they use other groups on Facebook? Do they engage with blog posts? Are there influencers that they follow? These are all things, once you understand your persona, you can make sure that is the person you're attracting to your website. And they're far more likely to use you, aren't they? Far more likely, because these are based on your existing customers. Whenever I'm starting with a client who hasn't got a persona in place, I'll say, right, let's look through your previous 100 customers and let's identify a lot of these things. Is there a trend here? Who is it you speak to? Who do you want round the table with you? And really, that's the focus. Because what we're trying to get then is a good fit matrix in place. So of all those leads coming in, we only really want the ones going through the sales process who are top right here, who are high engagement and good fit. We talked about this in the show a couple of months ago. High engagement, good fit people. So they're highly engaged with us as a brand. They're on the website, they're reading our blog posts, they're engaging with our content. They've downloaded, probably done the scorecard. They've probably downloaded a few of the guides, watched our videos. They're highly engaged people. They're also a great fit for what we do. So if I spend all my time just talking to this top right, the conversion rate will go through the roof. We should be getting 40-50% conversion rate of leads into customers, because these are the only leads we're really targeting into our sales pipeline and our sales process. Low engagement and good fit just means we need to work harder as a marketing team to engage them with more content. We need to understand them, talk to them more, get them engaged, because then they'll move up to the top right. And then obviously this side really aren't going to be our target clients. So high engagement and poor fit means they're very engaged with us as a brand, but they're not a great fit for what we do. So again, we can share content with them. These are people who can often become very good champions for us. They are the people who will engage with us on social media. They'll like our posts, they'll share them, they'll comment on them. So again, we don't by any means not engage with them. We will engage with them and we'll share content with them, but they're never likely to become a customer. And then you've got low engagement and poor fit, who are basically, they're not engaged with you and they're not a good fit. I mean, they are really not worth spending our time on. So again, having a good fit matrix for your leads will really answer that question of how you up it from 10%. And then having a modern 4-step sales process in place. So identify is what we've just talked about, making sure that everybody who goes in our pipeline and our sales process has been identified as a good fit. So that is actually a stage of our sales process. We have an identify stage and make sure that all our time is spent identifying good fit people the right buyer persona, the right sector, the right company size, the right turnover, the right number of staff, all of that ticks. Once all those boxes are ticked, then we'll move on to the connect stage. Now, that's our first initial contact with them. It may be an email that goes out to them, or it may be a phone call. It'll probably be a Zoom call now. It'll be a 15-minute connect call is usually what we say here. It's very short, very focused on them and the challenges they're facing at the moment and some of the goals they have. So from us, it would be, what are their growth goals over the next year for the business? What are the current plans? What do they have in place? What are the challenges they're facing to growth? These are some of the things we'll talk about in the 15-minute call, really, so we can then map out a longer exploratory call or discovery call. So at this stage, we really want to be saying, it sounds like you've got some things we could really help you with. Let's have a longer hour-long call, 45-minute call to really dig into those in more detail, and we can share some more ideas with you, some things to work on in your business. So again, it's all about them. The exploratory call then is a far longer, more detailed call, and then we'll finally get to an advice stage, which will be a solutions presentation. But this is very much a prescriptive route that every single lead goes through, because at every stage you're pre-qualifying them as well. So you're not spending an hour-long call with somebody in the connect call who clearly has no interest, or they're not in a buying cycle at the moment. It's clearly something they're thinking about in 6 months' time. They're not really actively buying now, or in that sales process at the moment. So that is really how we would do it. We've also added a fifth step into ours, which is a goal setting and a planning call, which again is half an hour after the exploratory call, just to say, well, this is what we talked about in the exploratory call. These are the goals that you've said you want to achieve in the next 12 months. Just making sure that everything's in place and we all agree and we're all on the same page. So we didn't think one thing from the exploratory call and the client thought something else and was going in a totally different direction. So that's something we've added in recently. It just means then when we spend all our time producing a 1.5 hour solution presentation, one, it's very personalized. Two, it's very much around their business and their growth goals. And three, it should really make sure that we have a very good chance of only doing solution presentations and proposals to really good fit people. And when we leave that, it's a high percentage chance that that will convert for us. So again, look at your own sales process. I know every industry is different, but if you have a structured sales process like this, then what it allows you to do is what we have here. This is our HubSpot. This is a demo pipeline we've set up in HubSpot, but it'll allow you to make each one of those stages a pipeline, and you can see which company is at which stage. You can see at the bottom there how much money you've got at each stage of your pipeline, and that who's gone through the connect calls, who's downloaded guides, who's gone through your connect calls, who's now on an exploratory call, who's now moved into a solutions presentation. And you can see here, you even get to closed won. So closed won or closed lost at the end. So it's a very, very streamlined process, and you can move people from one stage to another very smoothly. So again, if you're running a sales team, you want to know every single salesperson who's assigned a lead, where that lead is in the pipeline, and what the next steps are for that person. So you can have very productive conversations, helping your sales team succeed and saying, right, what do you need from us to get them to that next stage? So again, having that sort of focus is really key to making this predictable. And then at the end, we always say, have a tripwire offer, have some sort of primary offer here, low barrier to entry, high value to the actual person. So whoever you're giving this to or offering it to, it's high value. Execution's fairly easy, so it's scalable, but it'll give them a tangible result. You remember the 90-day program I showed you earlier? That's ours. That's our low barrier of entry. It really allows us to work with a client to get them a result at the end of it, get them more leads and revenue in the business that they never had. We get to work together, so we know the working relationship is really strong, and we know that they're using the right system. They're using HubSpot in the right way. We'll have set up the sales processes working and converting. The website we've identified, probably not in the 3 months we've done all the work on the website, but we'll have certainly identified landing pages that have converted well, email content that's going out that's converting well, all of those conversion points That's what we set that up for. And that's why every client we work with now goes through that 3 months first, because at the end of that 3 months, they've got three options. And they either carry on doing it themselves, and that pipeline we've set up, that mini pipeline carries on working. They often want to build out the other pipelines. They often want to do the work on the website, do some strategy work, do some paid ads. So we have more of a retainer conversation about, right, what's the next 12 months look like, and where do we focus our attention now on our business growth? Or they have a hybrid system, which is often the downsell for us would be, why don't we help train your team up? You've got a system in place now. Why don't we help you recruit a marketer to plug into that system, a couple of sales guys to get into that system? So we've become more of a coaching role, more of a supporting role, where we onboard new people into HubSpot that join the team. We make sure that they really are building a team around them. So the three options there are DIY, carry on up with us as a retainer, or we have a hybrid system of working with a client at the end in more of a coaching and a training role to make sure that they keep building their team out. But all of that is from having a good 90-day program that we send people through that will get them results and get the experience. It's that proof of concept. This does work. This is how it works. And then that leads on to the other conversations. And you can see here, that was all driven from our conversion offer at the start, PDF guide, video masterclass, or the scorecard we're working on now, leading into an hour-long consultation or probably a 15-minute call. But a lot of the people who've gone through our guides go straight into that solutions presentation, then into the 90-day program. So again, this is an example. This is one model that works really well. It's called the land and expand model. I covered that in our 6-video masterclass in detail of how we set each stage of that up. But the land and expand is landing people at a lower value, so they don't feel under pressure financially to make it, that they're putting all their eggs into one basket and signing up for 12 months with us. It's very results driven and outcome driven, but it also means they get proof of concept and they're far more confident then to talk about their business growth. And they can see it mapped out ahead of them how the business is going to grow. So that's an example there of a good Tripwire offer. So think of your own businesses. What offers would you be able to make as a primary offer here, as a Tripwire offer or a primary offer that gets people working with you, that doesn't ask them for the earth? It says, we know this works. Come on board and we'll help you get this working. So every business that we work with has some sort of primary offer they can set up. It may be just a more detailed consultation. It may be advisory and consultative. There again, it may be actually executing certain things, strategic, and then some execution. So every business that I've met has a low barrier to entry primary offer that they can put in front of. And again, this should be front and center on your website as well. So again, think of that as you're thinking through your sales funnel. Okay, so that's everything. As I say, if you want to go through a lot of the masterclass work that we do is based on that. The 6 videos are based on what we've talked about today. There's a convert section, there's a strategy section. There's also a conversion section on customers into clients, leads into customers, sorry. And I go through this in detail. Each of the videos, as I say, is about half an hour long. And there's also a workbook so you can fill in your own details of your business as you go through it. So by all means, go through that. If you have any questions, just email me, richard@digitalmediaedge.co.uk, and I'll happily answer those for you. So the next show we have, hopefully you've enjoyed that. It's given you plenty of value, plenty of things to think about. The next event we have coming up is next month, October's event, which will be show number 8, episode 8, 20th of October, Wednesday the 20th at 12 noon again. And we're working on a very special guest for this. I'm talking to them later this week, so I will announce that in the next couple of weeks. But really excited to have this guest on, and look forward to seeing you all in that show. All right, take care. We'll talk to you soon. By the way, if anyone wants copies of these slides, then just either DM myself and Rachel on LinkedIn or put in the live show chat slides, or send me the slides and we'll send you a PDF version of these slides. So hopefully that was useful, and we'll see you at the next show. Take care. Bye now.